Andrew from D&D Microphones here. Today we are on set with Thomas Popp. He is founder of videomantis.com. He's also the author of the book Down to the Wire, available on the iBookstore. You're going to teach us how to mic up a car today, right?
That's right.
There you go. Let's get started. So Thomas,
Yeah.
why are we miking up the car itself and not just using a shotgun microphone?
Well, if you're talking about shotgun microphones, you've got to think that, they're usually longer. So when you're working in a vehicle, unless if you're working in like a Humvee or a huge vehicle, you might not have room to physically put it where you need it to be. You're in a very confined space. So, we have to use different types of microphones that are going to work in the atmosphere that we're recording in.
So if you got an actor in the front seat,
Right.
in the driver position, how are we going to mic that up?
Well, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. You can put microphones in the visors, you can potentially put them below the steering wheel to the side, and you can even put microphones physically on the talent, wireless lavaliers. But you have to be a little careful with those because you might have a problem with the seatbelt running over the lav. You gotta be really concerned about mic placement.
Let's talk about who on set, though, do we need to talk to kind of coordinate these kinds of miking techniques?
Well, actually, there's a couple types of people that you want to be concerned about when you're working with cars. First thing, it does depend on your budget. Is there somebody there that's responsible for the car, like transportation? Before you even get into the car, you want to ask people to make sure that you have permission, and just to know, like, am I going to be able to put tape or any type of residue? What happens if you're working with $1 million car? You got to be very careful. But besides the transportation, you need to be talking to camera operators and know what their shots are so you can hide the microphones accordingly. You always want to tell them where your mic placement is, just so they don't run into a situation where in post they see the mic.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going into the visor.
Right.
We're trying to go underneath the steering wheel or possibly from the cup holder.
Right.
And if they're getting in and out of the car, a lavalier on the person, but we need to watch out for seatbelts.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I started yelling first because you lost. Okay, this again. Stop arguing. Just meet me at astrology. All right, we got to get. It's got to be there.
What's special though about the back seat?
Well, the thing about the back seat is you actually have a little bit more room to hide things. You can potentially hide them above.
Okay.
You can hide them behind the seats. And you know what? You have the potential of, maybe using even bigger microphones like, a hypercardioid or a supercardioid that has a rounder pattern because you have that extra space.
What about that pocket sometimes in the back seat?
Oh man, if you're doing wireless plants like a lav with a transmitter, you can clip those on the back of the seat because the back of the seat is something that they generally don't want to look at. It's kind of ugly. You want to see people's faces.
Can I get somebody? Listen, this isn't my fault. Can I get an attorney? Is there some way that you could call one?
So, if we're in the back seat of a car, we can do lavs on the actual back seat itself. We can even use a hypercardioid microphone and direct it to where they're sitting.
Right.
We also need to think about, though, where we're routing our cables because the back seat often is full of someone else's cables from another department.
Absolutely. You got to think you have camera operators that have their cables. You've got lighting. They might have special light gags inside of the vehicle.
Yeah, ballast and all that kind of stuff, and transformers that may be hidden in the back seat.
For sure. And all of these things can create noise, especially if you have your audio cables too close to them.
So when working with a car, if we have an ENG bag, how are we recording that audio?
Well, if you're kind of like a one-man band situation like this, the one thing that you have to know is that you're gonna have to physically either be in the car or at least have the audio in the car. And there's a reason why I say it like that. You do not want to ride in the trunk.
Right.
If you have the ability to be in the back seat where you can kind of crunch up and hide behind something, that's okay.
With the safety belt, yeah?
Exactly.
That's
you
exactly
always
why.
want to be obeying the laws of the road. It's all about safety. It's not about the film at that point. If you can't be in the actual car safetied in, then you need to put the bag in, do a check, do a couple tests and get your levels, then hit record, put it on the ground and let it go.
Right. What about a follow car?
You could do that, but what you're going to have to make sure is that you have some type of IFB transmission out of the car so you can be monitoring from either in front or behind it.
Right, and then you want to get that transmitter probably up in the window?
Exactly. If you have it somewhere in the middle of the car, you might have issues if you have a couple cars in between you while you're driving on the road.
Yeah. So if we're recording a car like this, we either do a drop bag with an ENG type setup. If we're doing wireless follow cars, we need to make sure that transmission signal gets out of the car, either by putting the transmitter up in the glass or magnetic up on top.
And remember, everyone, do not ride in the trunk. It's not worth it. If they ask you to do it, the answer is absolutely not.
Thank you so much, Thomas. for teaching us today about how to mic up a car.
Andrew, anytime.
And there you have it. That's how you mic up a car. Leave a comment below and tell us what we need to make our next videos about. Best comment is going to win the VMic D3 Pro. Don't forget to hit like, follow, and subscribe on all the social media platforms out there. We are on every platform there is. I'm Andrew from D&D Microphones. Thank you for watching.